Hello, this is LightSpeed English, and this is an interview with a native speaker. And who are we with today?
Hello, my name is Joanne Clare.
Joanne Clare. Okay, Joanne. Now, just for clarity, Joanne, we are related, are we not?
We are.
And what is the relationship?
I am your sister.
That's right. And I am her brother. Okay. So, Joanne, thank you very much for doing this interview with us.
No problem.
You're here at our home this weekend, but where do you live normally?
Normally I live in Potter's Bar, which is in Hertfordshire, and that is north of London in the southeast.
Okay, north of London. How far away from London is it?
In terms of driving or?
Just in distance. Do you know the distance? Miles?
Actually I don't.
No. Okay. So in driving, if you were driving to the centre of London, how long would it take?
It would take about 20 minutes, half an hour.
Okay, so not too far
Not
away
too
from.
far.
Okay, excellent. And how long have you lived in Potter's Bar?
I've lived in Potter's Bar for 5 years.
Mm-hmm. And before that?
I've lived in the London area for about 20 years.
Wow. And what part of the London area did you live? Was it one specific area?
I've lived in Hertfordshire before, and then I moved more into the centre, still north, but more in the centre, and then back to Hertfordshire.
Okay. And what is it about Hertfordshire that attracts you? Why do you want to live there?
Well, I came to live with our sister
Okay.
originally, and she lived in Hertfordshire.
Mm-hmm.
So that became a base,
Sure.
and I ended up going back there, and that's why that area has been a particular place of choice.
Okay. Okay.
But it's very beautiful, lots of lovely countryside, and it's also very close to London. If you want
Sure.
the city,
Sure.
you can get into the city very quickly.
Mm. Certainly, many Spanish speakers, and particularly people from Spain, come to the UK to visit London.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a big focus point for them. So, what is it that you do then? You live in Hertfordshire, and what work do you do?
I have a small business working for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I now work from home, and I do web development.
Web development.
Yes.
Okay. And is that, would you class that as a full-time job for you?
Normally it is, but I've now had 2 children. I've got 2 young children, as you know.
Sure.
And so my job is now part-time.
Okay.
And it's very flexible,
Mm-hmm.
which is brilliant, and it works perfectly with having children, because I can work in the evenings if I need to, or weekends, or whenever I can get some time to work.
Excellent. So obviously we talked with your husband Nick, my
Yes.
brother-in-law, yeah, and Nick also works from home.
Yes.
So what do you think are the benefits of working from home as opposed to having a normal job?
Well, lots of benefits. For a start, we don't commute anywhere,
Sure.
so we save a lot of time in the day.
Yeah.
It's much more relaxed, and also we can sit together for meals. We can get together for meals,
Okay.
which is lovely, which we wouldn't be able to do if we were out somewhere working
Sure.
somewhere else.
Absolutely. And lots of people here who commute and who get back home late quite often. If it's the husband who's commuting, by the time he's home, the children are in bed.
That's right.
So he doesn't see them yet.
Yeah.
So, that's good.
And the
Okay.
same for the mothers. When they eventually go back to work, it can be the same for them.
Sure. They're with the babysitter, and
Which
then
is
when they get
different,
home,
yeah.
it's put them to bed. Joanne, what would you say are the challenges of working for yourself?
Probably motivation.
Motivation, yeah?
Yes.
Mhm.
The inspiration of having other people working with you.
Yeah.
But I think the benefits for me personally outweigh the downside.
The downside of it.
Yeah.
Do you find that you can feel sometimes isolated working for yourself?
People say that, but personally no.
No.
And especially now, not now. And I do a lot of things with other mothers and their children
Right.
when I have some spare time and I'm not working,
Mhm.
or when I have the children, I'm obviously not working, and I do a lot of social activities
Okay.
at those times.
Yeah.
So no, I actually enjoy working by myself. There's something to be said for not having the constrictions of
Sure.
office.
Sure, I agree.
Environment.
I'm the same, and for me, it's the best thing that I've ever done in my life is work for myself. Something that I'd like to talk about, I think would be interesting for our viewers and students. Some time ago, you actually lived on the canals.
Yes,
yeah, in a would you say a barge? Is that the name of it, or would you call it a boat?
It was a boat. Normally, the barges are the long, thinner boats.
Yeah.
They're called narrow boats.
Narrow boats. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So Nick, my husband, and I, we both lived on boats separately before we met.
Okay.
And that's how we met. We met on the canal.
Okay.
Because
Your boats crashed
next-
into each other?
No, crashed near each other.
Okay.
And that's how we met. So we had different sized boats. I had a converted lifeboat first. That was my first boat. And then Nick was living on a narrow boat,
Right.
as I just described. And then when we got together, we bought quite a large, more of a seafaring vessel,
Right.
which was actually quite large for the canal.
Mm-hmm.
But we loved it, and it was very roomy.
So how would you compare life on a barge or on a boat compared to life in a house? What are the main
Well,
differences?
the main benefits are that you don't pay rent or mortgage or bills or anything like that. The only bill that you pay is for the mooring charge.
Okay. Yeah.
Or the license.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have a permanent mooring then, an official permanent mooring. So we
Okay.
only paid for a license. It wasn't very much per year.
Mm-hmm.
So you buy the gas for the stove, and when you run out of gas, you can cook on the stove.
Okay. Yeah.
So what is nice about it is that you don't answer to anybody.
Yeah.
But and you buy petrol for the generator to generate the electricity.
Mhm.
So we had everything that pretty much. We didn't have a dishwasher,
Mhm.
but we had technology, and we had the basics.
Okay.
But the downside is it's a very simple life, and it is quite difficult in other ways too.
Mhm.
So you have to go and fill up the water tank for the water.
Okay. Sure. And is there kind of a community
Yes.
in the boat people, if you want to call them that? Yeah.
Yes, there's a community, and that's another attractive side of that kind of life.
Sure.
And obviously the beauty of living, closer to nature.
Absolutely. Yeah. One thing that occurred to me was that in this country, I don't know how it is in other countries, but if you don't have an identity,
Yes.
it's very difficult to sometimes to buy things, or sometimes to for example, to get a loan or to get a bank account, or
Yeah. Well,
how was that?
that's true. In those days, it was just before the internet came about.
Sure.
And it was the beginning of the internet. People weren't really buying things online,
Yeah.
and I'm sure that it must be very difficult now because everything is automated, and when they need to find an address, otherwise you can't register and you
That's
can't
right.
pay for things.
Yeah.
So when you're on a boat, you have to have a care of address.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
and it is a difficulty, definitely,
Mhm.
and you
Yeah.
can get post office addresses as well.
So yeah, they could come a PO number, isn't it? That you have your stuff delivered to. Okay. Yeah. Would it ever be something you would consider returning back to?
Yes, if I had the money to buy something really amazing,
Mm-hmm.
with all the mod cons, everything that I would have in a house, and
Yeah.
also a proper mooring, because we didn't have a proper mooring.
Mhm.
So a proper mooring would be, you'd have it connected up to water, running water,
Right.
electricity,
Sure.
phone lines, everything that you'd have in a house, except you would be on the water.
Okay, it's almost
I
like
would
a
consider
caravan. A caravan site has a similar type of connection,
Yes.
doesn't it? Water
Yes.
and gas and everything. Okay. Mm.
But another lovely thing is that you can just go and travel somewhere
Yeah,
on the canal system or on the rivers.
sure. Because the
And
canal
that's
systems,
exciting.
the canal system in the UK goes up as far as Manchester, does it not?
Yeah.
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 Okay, excellent. Just before we finish, then, that's been really, really interesting. You know London a lot. You know the nightlife in London. If you were going to recommend to somebody what to see in London during the evening, what would you recommend?
It depends what you want
Somebody
to do.
who wants to see, for example, somebody who enjoys going out to a bar or to a nightclub, what would you recommend?
Well, the fashionable place at the moment is actually the East End.
The East End of
The East
London.
End, around Old Street. So you would take the Old Street tube.
So
And
Old
it's called
Street.
it's called Hoxton or Shoreditch. So that's a few different names.
Okay.
And that's where a lot of the trendy bars are, and trendy clubs and nice restaurants and usual. And it's not so expensive as the West End.
Okay.
And it's a bit trendier, a bit more fashionable.
Okay. All right. So the Old Street.
Old Street Station.
Old Street
Tube
Station.
Station. Yeah. And the area is called Hoxton or Shoreditch.
Yeah. And so this must be where all the hipsters go.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, we'll talk about hipsters in another one. Okay, well, Joanne, thank you very much.
No problem.
That's
A
been
pleasure.
very interesting. Okay, so that's us. Have fun. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.